shit just keep turning. The fire in my chest, that shit just keep burning. For that money to be earning, that's exactly what I'm yearning. Got me dreaming about that shit all night till the morning. So my girl sleep lonely. She tell me that she miss me. My friends never see me. I pray they don't forget me. You just fuel to the fire. My flow is helium. That I'm back. That I'm back.
Hip-hop is the culture the world reflects. Status on the streets can bring you hood respect, but usually a block star's met with death. It's a dangerous game, homie, watch your step. Yeah, the cars and the women are enticing, but those envious bullets, could end your life, man. Thinking of big boss souls like an eagle, until you're double crossed by your own people. Hip-hop murders, hip-hop murders, hip-hop murders, hip-hop murders, hip-hop murders.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to another edition of Hip Hop Murders. Right now, currently, I'm at the Poughkeepsie Cemetery here in Cranston, Rhode Island. And normally, my hip hop murder videos don't start at a cemetery. However, this crime takes place at this cemetery. So let's talk about it. On March 20th, 2013, 911 received a call from somebody saying that there was a fire at the Poughkeepsie Cemetery. So a firefighter truck is dispatched. They arrive at the cemetery and they see the fire right away because it's not very far into the entrance of the cemetery. And they put out the fire, and as soon as they did, they could easily see that it was a human body that was on fire. So immediately, detectives are called. They come to the scene of the crime. They take the body for autopsy to the medical examiner's office, and the body is quickly identified as 22-year-old Shad Gande Kadea. Now, Mr. Kadea was a local well-known hip-hop rapper here in the Providence, Rhode Island area, and he was also pretty well known to the police. They claim that he was a reputed gang member out here in Providence. His family denies that he was a gang member. Now, I'll say this. If you grow up in an urban environment where there's gangs floating around, it's going to be rather difficult to at least not have a friend that is involved in a gang. Once the police pull you over, let's say you're not in a gang, but your friend's in a gang. Once the police pull you over and write your name down, you are an affiliated gang member of that said gang until they determine that you're not. So after the autopsy, it's determined that he was murdered via ligature strangulation. Not a common way where gangs kill each other by strangling. It's usually done, of course, via shootings. So the police claim that he is a documented gang member. He was strangled. So obviously they think, okay, rival gang. But after doing a little bit of digging, police quickly came to the impression that maybe possibly this was not a rival gang murder, but a murder involving someone very close to him. And allow me to explain what I'm talking about. 4 months prior to Shad being murdered, he had opened up a life insurance policy on himself through the New York Life Insurance Company for $250,000. Now, in this life insurance policy, he named Massiel Ortiz as the 100% main beneficiary of his life insurance policy. Now, who is Massiel Ortiz? She, at the time, was the girlfriend of Shad. They had a baby together, I believe a 5-month-old at the time. And they had been living together, but I believe at the time of his murder that they were not living together. So maybe they were fighting, maybe they were having their ups and downs, like how often most young couples do when they're in a relationship, in particular when they're living together. And the second beneficiary in the life insurance policy was Shad's mother, Julia Claw. Now, here's where things get a little bit odd. First of all, you're 22 years old, you're in excellent health, no known medical illnesses, no pre-existing conditions. You're practically in the prime of your life, so to speak. Normally, 22-year-olds don't open up $250,000 life insurance policies. Now, you might get junk mail, you might get junk email saying like, oh, hey, you can buy a $25,000 life insurance policy for as little as $4.97 a month. Now, usually you take that and kind of tear it up and throw it away. But sometimes people say like, $5 a month, debited out of my bank account. I won't even notice that. 25,000, yeah, sure. That'll pay for the funeral, right? Give your family a couple bucks, help pay the rent or what have you. Now, sometimes you can spice that up and bump it up to 50,000 or, hey, even 100,000. It's not very common, in my own estimation, for a 22-year-old man to open up a $250,000 life insurance policy on himself. First of all, you have to factor in this. Now, I don't know what he was working at or what he was doing at the time, but a $250,000 life insurance policy, it's not terribly cheap. Now, I was looking online, and it looks like for his age range, if he's not a tobacco user, which they would have tested him to see if he used tobacco products. If he didn't use tobacco products and he got a $250,000 life insurance policy, looking at several different companies, on average, it looks like it's gonna cost anywhere from about $140 to about $180 a month if you get a 10-year term. It'll go cheaper, I believe, if you get longer terms. Now, if he was a tobacco user, like let's say he smoked weed or what have you, then it's going to go up, not a lot because of his age, but it's going to go up a little bit. It could go up well past $200 a month. So do you want to pay $200 a month if you're a young guy? And do you think you're going to die? Did he have some kind of medical diagnosis that was possibly terminal? Maybe he was thinking about his enemies in the street, people that did not like him, people that did not care for him. Or did Massiel Ortiz have 250,000 reasons to have him whacked, if you will? Now, normally when a life insurance company receives a claim, they're going to look at, how long they have the life insurance policy, all of this and that. And so they're looking at this policy and they say, well, wait a minute. First, okay, this guy was murdered, so there we go. You were murdered, but you just got the policy 4 months ago. Now, listen, things happen. Unfortunate situations like this happen. However, normally insurance companies have a 2-year window where when you open up the life insurance policy, within the 2 years, if there is a claim, they're going to open up more than likely an investigation, and especially if it's a murder, because there is a statute in every state in the country. It's called in at least Rhode Island, it's called a slayer statute. Now, a slayer statute is basically what the name implies. If you kill somebody and then, you know, you're trying to get the claim, you're not going to get the money because you murdered them. So Massiel is trying to collect on the $250,000 life insurance policy, except they're looking at her, they're looking at this whole situation, and they're saying, okay, wait a minute now, we're not stupid. They have contact with the police. The police tell them that Massiel Ortiz is not a suspect, but a person of interest. Basically, a person of interest is just exactly how it implies. The police believe that she had something to gain by his murder. They were kind of on the outs. He was not living with her at the time with their baby. You kind of wind up, not kind of, you wind up dead. So the life insurance company, they say, okay, Miss Ortiz, here's what we'll do. You're going to have to supply us with his medical records. And while they're doing that, they're going to get the police records, they're going to get his criminal records, they're going to get his credit report, they're going to get his driving record, everything. They're going to try everything they do in their power to not pay this life insurance policy, because they have an excellent reason why. We have somebody that was murdered. We have a woman that was his, you know, on again, off again girlfriend, and all of it, he just winds up murdered. So when this is going on, Massiel's telling the court, I don't have access to his medical records. I'm not next of kin. So they're sending her on a wild goose chase. They're doing whatever they can within their power to not pay this life insurance policy. Finally, Shad's mother, Julia, gets in on this, and she says, basically, you know what? I'm going to hire my own private investigator. You're not going to profit off my son's death. So a very long legal process takes place. I was reading the online court proceedings, and basically the money was put in some kind of a fund through the court. And I believe, from what the paperwork said, that Massiel Ortiz was the court awarded judgment on the side of the insurance company to where they do not have to pay Massiel Ortiz any of the death benefits. So I believe as of right now, she never seen any of the money. I don't know. However, later on, I tried to find out. I could not find out any information if the second beneficiary, which was Shad's mother, Julia, if she got the death benefit. I believe, you know, when it comes to courts and legalese, I'm not the best person to transcribe it. But as of right now, from what I've seen, nobody got, well, she definitely did not get the money. The court was in favor of the life insurance company. And I'm not sure if Shad's mother was able to collect on it. But getting away from that, this is still an open, unsolved murder. Nobody's came forward. The police are going to have their suspects. But at the end of the day, more times than not, the streets don't talk. Nobody's saying anything. And this is just another unsolved murder that has taken place, where it's been, you know, almost 8 years. I don't know if it's considered a cold case or not, but for the most part, we have no resolution to this case. Now, I believe the fire was right ahead of you over there, where I believe they said you could see the fire from the street, and there is a little bit of a memorial right here. It says, Shad, we love you. And here we are at the Swan Point Cemetery here in Providence, Rhode Island. And this is the final resting place of Shad Gandhi Kadea, April 7, 1990 to March 20th, 2013. Sadly, his mother just passed away last year. She went to her grave not knowing who the person or persons responsible for her son's murder was. Rest in peace to both Young Shad and Julia Claw. This unsolved murder is going on over 8 years now with no resolution to the case. If anybody out there has any information on the person or persons responsible for the murder of Shad Gandhi Kadea, please contact the Cranston, Rhode Island Police Department. Their number is 401-942-2211. 401-942-2211. And my final message for the person out there that had anything to do with the crime, always remember, you are always one phone call away from the police knocking on your door and you being placed in handcuffs. Just remember that. For the rest of your life, always look over your shoulder. Not a good feeling, is it not? I'm Lamont at large. I'll catch up with you guys later. Be safe out there. God bless.